My startup is failing, and here's what I want to do to save it. In case you're new here, my name is Dominique Pereira. Some people know me as Ask Domnat, a serial entrepreneur and the founder of Clear Social, a social media platform with a completely transparent algorithm. Clear Social isn't doing great. I started it 2 years ago and I've invested thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, and we haven't had the traction that we've really wanted to see. Stick around to the end of the video and you'll know what issues we've come across and really what the pain points are, how much time and money I've spent to get to this point, and really what I want to do to change all that around. So, what issues have I had with Clear Social? Well, number one is we started this with just an idea. The idea was social media platforms have no transparency, and we wanted to change that. So we decided, well, why don't we create a social media platform with just a fully transparent algorithm? Creators are going to love it because we can then treat it more like a sport where I know what I have to do to go up in the rankings. And if somebody's doing that better, that's fine because I know where I can improve. But then comes along all of the nuances of creating a social media. How do you get users? How do you get all these features involved? We didn't really think about that too much, and that was probably the first mistake. We didn't have a great practical idea of what the value proposition was for Clear Social. We just knew that we wanted it to be clear across the board for users and creators. But what did that practically mean? Well, we're still figuring that out. And I didn't fully appreciate how many features these social media platforms have. When you start thinking about Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, there are so many nuances that you don't really appreciate because you as a user probably don't even use all the features. And if you do, it's something in the back of your head. But I guarantee you, once they're not there, you notice them. So we should have probably defined what the value proposition of Clear Social was more clearly up front. That was the biggest problem. The number two problem that I've really had with Clear Social is the development talent. I have a IT and engineering firm, and we deal with development issues all the time, but typically for our clients. So we know what we have to do, the type of level of investment that needs to be made to solve some of these things. But it's really different when it's an internal project and there's no revenue coming in. You're not getting paid to do this project. You're actually just really trying to build a dream out. And that was my case. So what did I do? I decided to bring in some talent, overseas talent, and they weren't the greatest. There were a lot of challenges with time scheduling. I was trying to get in meetings almost, to start my day, but they were on a different schedule. And although they were trying to accommodate, by the time I ask a question, when you're running at 100 miles an hour, I kind of just want to send a text out and hope that I can get an answer within the next couple minutes, not the next couple hours, and certainly not the next day. And that was a really big challenge. And even though it was cheaper than doing Clear Social here in the United States as far as fully developed, it ended up taking a lot longer. And I've spent about $50,000 in developers, but that doesn't take into account all the resources and assets that we had to get into place and really all the staff hours here that I had to pay in my company to just get this thing moving along. And when I start thinking about the 2 years that we've taken to get to this point, I know that that money is probably triple. And even if it's not, if we would have got to where I wanted to be, it would have been well worth a larger investment. And that's where VC funding really helps. But we decided not to take VC money. We're bootstrapping it, trying to figure it out on our own. And that seemed to be a great idea, but when you start looking back and seeing the time that you've invested, you kind of wish you would have done things different. And number three, the biggest mistake that I've made, or at least one of them, is not putting out the product fast enough. It all ties into the development and not having a super clear idea of what you want to build because you always want to fine tune something. Your MVP has to be a certain way in your head for the public to really appreciate it. But the reality is that's not the case. Most people, if you have a solution to their problem, they'll take it in whatever form you have it in for them at that moment. And if it's not that good of a solution, then you probably need to figure that part out before you take it to the public. And for me, I wish I would have put out our MVP faster, start getting some user feedback. And ultimately, that's the change that we're making now. We decided instead of developing everything in-house, testing it, figuring out bug issues and features all internally, we decided why not put Clear Social out and make sure that people know where to find it in the app stores, download it, and give us their feedback directly. We're just building it out in public. Not only the complete tech stack, but also the business, trying to see how we can scale. We've had a couple hundred downloads and a couple hundred users, but honestly, as we grew, we figured out a crippling database issue, and we had to pull a lot of that back. We lost so much information and data that it was gut-wrenching. But I'm now taking these experiences as an opportunity to start over with you guys right in the front seat. So if you could do me a huge favor, go check out Clear Social and download it. If you like it, leave a 5-star review. If you don't like it, give me some feedback on what we can do to make it better. We want to make this an amazing bootstrap app to really show people that you can build stuff like this in public using all the new AI tools where you don't have to be beholden to developers or VC money. So join along for the ride, and I thank you for supporting Clear Social. See you next time.